on Teams for 21 days. So I want you guys to look at the recording. If you have missed something, you can look at the recording. And if you are trying to access it through the cell phone, you may not get it, but you may have to log in through your laptop or desktop to get the video. There are ways by which even if you are using your cell phone to listen to this lecture, you can get the video. uh, by going to YouTube, you can find out how you can get it. Anyways, I will try my best to share the videos on Microsoft Teams so that the classes are not getting missed, or I will try to show you where it is available right now. So if you click on the sessions here, if you look at my previous class, uh, mechanical engineering session 1, and if you click on 13 replies, here you can see that here you have the recording. Here you have the recording of what I have done. So like this you can download it and utilize it. The very first session is available for 16 days now. Later on it will not be available. So you guys have to download it now itself. So let me get back to the class now. I was talking about the parabolic trough collector. The sun's energy is coming here, and as it's hit this parabolic collector, it gets focused because of the parabolic shape. It gets concentrated, and then this pipe is getting heated. Here the fluid which is going inside is cold, but as it goes through this pipe, it gets heated up and the fluid comes out. You can see how this parabolic trough collector is located. It is located along north-south direction. It is located along north-south direction, so that the sun's energy is coming, which is coming from the east direction or west direction, hits the collector. So this is the best direction in which we can keep the parabolic trough collector. It has got reflective coating or mirrors to help in the reflection of the uh, heat energy or the sun's energy. This is the rotational axis of the parabolic trough collector. So this is how, using the parabolic trough collector, the solar energy can be heated. The solar energy can be heated. Okay. Hope you are following, guys. If there is any doubt, you can always tell me. These are the collector supports. These are the collector supports or the stands which help in making the parabolic trough collector hold. Okay. This is called a solar dish collector, which is looking like the dish antenna. You might have seen that some cable TV suppliers, or even the Sun TV and Sun TV or Udaya TV uh, or the Airtel guys also supply this kind of small dish collectors, which help in the focusing of the solar energy. In this case, over there they are sending the signals to the satellite, and from the satellite it is beamed onto the dishes, and then we get the signal for telecasting various channels on the TV. Here similar kind of technology is used. We are directly getting the sun's energy onto this dish, and it is getting focused here. It is coming and hitting here, it is coming and getting hit here, it is coming and getting hit here, and it gets reflected back, and it gets focused and concentrated. It gets focused and concentrated. This technology is utilized in heating the water or the space. So if you have lot of collectors together, then it is called as a solar farm. So thus we have seen the solar energy conversion under the technology name is heliothermal process. We have seen three types: flat plate collectors, solar dishes, parabolic collectors, etc. These are the three different types we have seen. Then I want to tell you about solar energy. Is there anything that I have missed? I am just looking at that. No, I have not missed anything about solar energy. So then other things that I missed was I was talking about ethanol fermentation. I told you how the it's a biochemical technology where Zyme the catalyst given out by the given out by the yeast cells. The zymase is an enzyme complex which catalyzes the fermentation of sugar into ethanol and carbon dioxide, and this was discovered by Edward Buchner in 1897. Under fermentation, there are two different types, which is called as anaerobic fermentation, that is without air or oxygen; aerobic fermentation, that is with oxygen. This is with oxygen. Okay, so like this there are two types of fermentation technologies. Main byproduct is ethanol or ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. So apart from that, we also get other chemicals like glycerol, lactic acid, acetone, butanol, etc. And it is also uh, used in the pharmaceutical and food sector. Like it finds application in many fields. For example, the chemicals like glycerol, lactic acid, acetone, and butanol. This is utilized, and in the pharmaceutical and food sector also we are using the ethyl alcohol for milk products, flavors, vitamins, enzymes, and amino acid production. Also, this technology is utilized in milk production. How they are utilized means it helps as a fuel to heat the milk, in processing milk, and also to get milk products. That is how ethanol is utilized. Vitamins production, enzyme production, amino acid production, etc. So it is basically acting as a fuel. Fermented ethyl alcohol is basically acting as a fuel. So what is the feedstock? What is the uh, feedstock means what is the raw material which makes up the ethanol? It is the sugars from sugarcane or the sorghum from grain plants, molasses, the byproduct of sugarcane refining, or the sugar beets are all used in the production of the ethanol. They are supplied as the feedstock, the raw material, or the product whey residue which is obtained from cheese production. All this form the feedstock or the raw material which helps in the production of ethyl alcohol or ethanol. And also we use some grains, potato, starch, wood, cellulose, etc. Uh, as the raw material or feedstock. So the equation which or the chemical process equation in the production of ethanol fermentation is this: the glucose here is converted into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. So the glucose, it might be glucose, fructose, or sucrose, which are different forms of sugar which are converted into ethanol. Fructose is found in fruits. Fructose is found in fruits, and glucose, fructose, and sucrose. Most of them have the similar formula, meaning the elements are the same: carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. In glucose, fructose, and sucrose, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen are the basic constituents which make them up. What is the schematic diagram for the ethanol production? So here the natural sugars or sugarcane is sugarcane or fruit is supplied and it is crushed and it is subjected to hydrolysis technology to give sugar, and after crushing some residues are formed. This is used as a byproduct. Cellulose wood is the other feedstock which is difficult. It is also broken or crushed or grinded to subject it to a technology called as hydrolysis and then gives out sugar. Then it is subjected to fermentation with the help of yeast microbe, which uses zymase, the catalyst or the enzyme, which helps in conversion to 10% ethanol. Then it is subjected to a technology called as distillation, where we get 90% ethanol, and this can be utilized for general combustion fuel. Then it can also be further purified to get anhydrous alcohol and utilized along with petroleum products by mixing with petroleum products, so that our dependence on petrol totally is prevented. So it is used as a petroleum additive or a substitute. So it is just a substitute. Substitute means you are replacing some amount of petrol so that the cost on petrol reduces. So your dependence on petroleum fuel reduces. Then we have the solid fuel, which we had discussed. Direct combustion of the solid matter like wood or the biomass, the waste material, spread into a furnace where it is burned, and the heat energy is supplied, and this heat energy can be utilized for heating purposes or to generate steam energy. Water is converted into steam, and this steam is made to run a turbine, and this turbine is connected to a generator. Since it is connected to a generator, we can get electric energy. So this direct combustion or solid fuel combustion plant is found in Springerville, Arizona. So it helps. How it works is it uses the decayed vegetable matter. The waste or vegetables are all accumulated, and this is called as peat. The peat, when put in wet soil, it becomes the wetlands. It is found in wetlands, bogs, moods, and meadows. It all refers to the moist vegetable matter. So animal dung is also a solid waste, which are utilized in the biomass plant, which converts the input into suitable biomass fuel, and this fuel can be utilized in getting heat energy. Can look into wetland, bogs, moods, mires are all almost same. Okay. Wetland, you know what is a wetland? It is moist, it is wet. Bogs, moods, mires are different words, almost similar with slight differences. Then we come to the simple match flaming combustion. Remind me, guys, I will tell you about this wetlands, bogs, moods, mires, etc. in the next class if you do not get it. So please go through. If you do not get it in the next class, I will tell you about it. Simple match flaming combustion. Why we are telling this? Till now we have seen different technologies like pyrolysis, digestion, gasification, etc. We will, in the simple matchstick also, we can see this pyrolysis and gasification technologies. So that is why I am going to tell you about this. When a matchstick is burned, when you look at it closely, we can see all these things. We can see that in this region there is a pyrolysis taking place, oil, vapor and gas. What is pyrolysis? Burning of the fuel without supply of oxygen. Right? you look, pyrolysis is a thermochemical decomposition of organic material. First, we decompose the organic material, and at elevated temperature, without oxygen supply, we make the biomass into three different products, that is charcoal, pyroligneous acid or oil, and mixture of gases. It is syngas, carbon monoxide, and endogenous available. So this was what we discussed about pyrolysis a few 2-3 days back. So I was just trying to revise you guys about pyrolysis again. So in case if you have forgotten, you will get it. So here we see that we'll not go into this matchstick in great detail. This is just an example to tell you that in real life you can see this pyrolysis technology happening on a matchstick. So here oil vapors crack to hydrocarbons and tar. We get gases from the soot. The soot is a blackish product that is seen on the matchstick. The combustion of gases gives rise to tar and soot. So the smoke that comes out, these are all the combustion products. You can see the various temperatures at which these different technologies take place when the matchstick is burning. When the matchstick is burning, we can also see that there is different colors in the flame, red, blue, etc. It depends on the heat here, temperature at which the matchstick is getting burnt. It is not the same temperature around the flame. It is not the same temperature around the flame. Blue color indicates a different temperature. Red color indicates a different temperature. So to summarize the biomass conversion technology, we have 4 technologies. One is gasification, pyrolysis, digestion, fermentation. The main product of gasification is producer gas, and for example, I had told you about updraft gasifier. If you look at pyrolysis, we get syngas here, that is carbon monoxide and hydrogen. If you look at digestion, we get biogas, methane. Biogas means it is made up of methane and carbon dioxide. Fermentation with the utilization of the catalyst from the yeast microbe, that is the zymase. It helps in the conversion of sugar to ethyl alcohol. So ethyl alcohol, these are the different products. So like this, the biomass is converted into various conversion fuels. This is a concentrated form of energy, chemical energy, which helps in running IC engines and also utilized to run a gas turbine, and turbine in turn can be connected to a generator to get electricity, and also to just cleanly burn for burning purposes. Far less combustion residues are found here. It also helps in removing hazardous elements if there is any on purification. We have seen solar energy and biomass conversion technologies. Now we will go to what is called as the wind energy. Guys, do you know what is wind energy? What is the cause of wind production? Can anybody guess that? Can anybody guess why wind energy is produced? Guys, can anybody guess why wind energy is produced? Anybody can answer? Alex? Divya? Gurukiran? What is wind? What does it contain? It contains air. So I'll give you a hint. Using wind energy, what we are doing is we are making the turbine run. So if the turbine has to run, the wind has to have some power. Just normal air is not enough. The air has to move with some power. So when the air moves with some power, it is called as wind power. So what causes the air to move with some power? That is the question. Can somebody answer what makes the air particles to move faster?
Pressure difference, sir.
What is the cause of pressure difference? The cause of pressure difference is solar energy, because the air energy gets heated. The air gets heated by the solar energy. Okay, when it gets heated by the solar energy, there is some density difference that is created. There is some density difference that is created, and there is some low lying area and high lying area because of that. So when there is a density difference created, the winds starts moving from high potential region to low potential region. High potential region means, here I am referring to the wind where the density is very high. On one side, the density is high and it comes to the lower region. The density is high, it comes to the lower region, and if the density is light, it comes to the higher region. This density difference in the air particles causes the air to move from move along mountains, etc., and it makes the wind turbines move. Hope you have understood. Okay, wind speed increases with height. That's why along mountains it is very useful. Where we have mountains or hilly regions, the wind energy is highly found and it is utilized. So it is mainly caused due to unequal heating of the earth's surface. Okay, it is found in hilly and coastal regions. So when this wind energy is connected to a turbine, the turbine starts moving, and this turbine is connected to a generator, and this generator is connected to a uh, grid supply, and the energy is supplied. So we will see what does this wind turbine consist of. First we'll see what are the different types of wind turbines. There are two types of wind turbines. One is called as vertical axis wind turbine. The other is called as horizontal axis wind turbine. So vertical axis wind turbine means the turbine has got a vertical axis. Horizontal axis wind turbine means the turbine has got a horizontal axis along which it rotates. It has got blades around it which rotate with the supply of wind energy and is converted into few hundred watts to few megawatts. The number of wind turbines kept on land is called as a wind farm. Of course, we need lot of land area to construct a wind farm. That is one of the disadvantage. But there is advantage, because the same wind farm can also be utilized for the cultivation of crops or grazing of cattle. It can also utilize for that. So what does this wind turbine consist of? It consists of a rotor, the central part, consists of a gearbox to vary the speed, electric generator or alternator to supply electric power, the speed sensors to detect the speed of wind, and the control electronics to monitor and regulate speed and output. Of course, the cables to transfer the energy, electric cables to transfer the electric energy. So this is the diagram which shows this is the rotor, this is the gearbox, this is the generator, this is the horizontal axis wind turbine. So along this axis the blades are rotating. Here we have vertical axis wind turbine. Along this axis, vertical axis, the turbine is rotating here. This is the support tower which supports it. This is also the support tower in the case of the vertical axis wind turbine. So the main parts, similar parts between these two are gearbox, support tower, generator, turbine blades. Only difference between vertical axis wind turbine and horizontal axis wind turbine is the turbine blades are rotated along the horizontal axis. In the case of horizontal axis wind turbine, here the turbine blades are rotated along the vertical axis, hence it is called as vertical axis wind turbine. So I've got less time, so first let me okay, yeah, you don't have any class, so I can continue, that's okay. So what is the wind power? Wind power, here I have an equation to find out the wind power. So what does this equation constitute? The power P is given by 0.5 rho, means the density of the air, and A is the area of the rotor, V is the air velocity in meters per second, and Cp is the power coefficient, the efficiency of the wind, which is about 35 to 45%. That is, the wind energy is converted into mechanical energy first, and then is converted into electric power by connecting it to a generator. So the conversion percentage into mechanical energy is about 35 to 45%. It is about 35 to 45%. So we will see that if you look at this equation here, we are having air density. The air density given here is 1.225 kg per meter cube, and we are having a Cp, the coefficient of power, as 40%. The power coefficient is 40%, and the rotor blade radius is 6 meter, and we are asked to calculate the wind power when the wind speed is 8 meters per second, and also when the wind speed is doubled, 16 meters per second. So we are going to utilize this equation and find out. So here there is a sample equation. 1.225 is in kg per meter cube. So I want you guys to do this problem. Kg per meter cube. 6 is meter square, and 8 is the velocity, meters per second. 0.4 is the coefficient of power. We can see that meter cube and meter cube will get cancelled. Meter cube and meter cube will get cancelled. So finally what you have is kg per second. 0.4 is the coefficient. So this is nothing but 14,187 kilowatts. That is 14.2 kilowatts. So this is a sample problem that I have worked out, but I want you guys to find out what is the power at 16 meters per second. Can you calculate this and tell me what will be the wind power at 16 meters per second? Please, can you do this? Guys, are you able to hear? Did you understand what I have told you? Can you do this problem? Do you want me to explain anything? This is just simple substitution. The equation is this is the equation. Okay. I want you guys to note down this equation. Have you noted down this equation? Note down this equation. Are you hearing my voice, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, note down this equation first. A is the area of the rotor in meter square. So area is equal to pi d square by 4 because it is circular. Okay. This is a simple problem, guys. Direct substitution. Hope you have noted down this equation. Everybody noted? Everybody got the equation, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 0.5 rho AV cube Cp. Okay. So let me go to the next slide. So now solve it for 16 meters per second. 0.5 rho A V cube Cp. This is the equation. So find out P. I will end the class after solving this problem. So just tell me what is the power when the velocity is 16 meters per second. It is a direct substitution. From this we will understand something. Can anybody tell what is the power? Can somebody tell me what is the power, guys? Alex and others? I couldn't complete the video. I'll show the video in the next class. That is the Monday class. I'll show the video on this solar energy. Guys, what is the answer?
Hundred and 13.43 kilowatts, sir.
Very good, very good. Yeah. So what is the important observation that we have to make here is that it is about 8 times. The wind velocity is about when you double the wind speed, it is about 8 times. There is about 8 times increase in power. So the wind velocity is an important parameter which will change the power that is received. That is the simple direction that we are going to get. So I'll end the class now. If there are any doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will end the class. Do you have any doubts, guys?
No,
No
sir.
doubts? Was it clear to you all that was covered today?